I have tried to film this so many times. I don't know why I can't get it right. I have so many things I want to talk about and I just can't organize it properly. I have it all written down, but I still can't talk about the things I want to say in the right way. Bear with me. I'm sorry this video is all over the place, but I'm done doing it again. Today I'm talking about a very highly requested topic, and that is about breastfeeding, my experience, my tips, my advice, my struggles. I'm gonna start off by saying I don't judge you if you formula feed your baby or if your baby was formula fed. I was formula fed and I'm just fine. So either way, as long as your baby's fed and healthy, that's all that matters. My baby is 5 months old and I have been breastfeeding her the whole time. She was formula fed for the first 2 weeks of her life, but also breastfed. She just had a combination of both because she needed to gain weight faster in the beginning. Aria is sleeping right now. She's in her swing, so that's why I'm trying to rush this video a little bit. So if she's in the video later, that is why. So I'm going to start off by just talking about the pros and cons of breastfeeding. Some of these things are just really obvious and you don't need to hear. But for those of you that don't know, this is just a little list I made for myself. I'm sure there's a ton more things. So most of us know that breastfeeding is, I guess, the best thing for the baby because it helps with their immunity. It has all the things they need and they get sick less often. Of course, there are babies that have been formula fed and they're just fine. But I always hear that breastfeeding helps you and your baby not get sick. I haven't gotten sick my whole pregnancy and postpartum, so I really do think that not only it helps Aria not get sick, but me too. It's like my body knows. Normally I get sick 5 times at least, minimum a year. Also, I did want to say I do plan to breastfeed for a full year. Another pro is bonding. Everyone says, oh, breastfeeding is such a great bond. Is so great because you can bond with your baby better, blah, blah, blah. Probably because you're holding them close to you. But I mean, you can probably still have that bond with formula feeding too if you hold the baby close to you and all that. I guess it just makes moms feel more needed from their baby because they just want to be with you all the time since you're the one who is their cafeteria. Like, anyone could just give them a formula bottle, but you can only give them the breast milk, so maybe that is why. Another amazing thing that comes from breastfeeding for me is it's easier at night. When she's just sleeping and she's waking up in the middle of the night and she's hungry or she's crying, whatever, I'll just pick her up. She sleeps in the bed with me in the little DockATot, which I've talked about many times before. I love the DockATot. It is a lifesaver. I'll just pick her up and put her next to me and I'll just be laying down. Let me just give you a visual. Oh. So let's just say, I'm just laying in my bed, pretend my baby's here. I'll just plop her right here, pull out a boob and feed her like this, and I can lay down and she'll just be turning her head to the side and eating like this. So that is a lot easier at night, and then I don't have to get up and go make a formula bottle. I feel like that would be so stressful. Let's say she's teething or she's just upset about something, she got hurt, I don't know, whatever it is. If she's crying, I feel that breastfeeding is just a lot better to comfort them and calm them down. For example, I went to my family's house that Aria hasn't seen since she was 2 weeks old, so she wasn't used to seeing them. So she was freaking out crying the whole time I was at their house, and I just went to another room and held her, rocked her, and breastfed her, and she calmed down and fell asleep for a little bit. And you could just do it right away. If you see them crying, you could just be here, instead of quickly trying to go make a bottle and leaving them somewhere else while they're crying. So some cons, some difficult things that I've noticed is breastfeeding's definitely draining on my body. I am so tired. The second that she latches and starts sucking, I get so thirsty, and I know it's a thing that I think happens to everyone who breastfeeds, but yeah, the second she starts sucking, I get so tired. I have to make sure that I have a water bottle next to me and I can be drinking right when she starts drinking because it just feels like I need water. It feels like I haven't drank water in weeks. Sometimes breastfeeding is not convenient. I did say that it is convenient most of the time because you could just start feeding them wherever, whenever. But sometimes it's not convenient. Let's say you're in a car, someone else is driving. We're going somewhere that's a few hours away. She starts freaking out crying. I can't just quickly make a formula bottle in the car, put some water and formula and mix it up and give it to the baby. You have to like pull over and just try to get comfortable and then try to feed her like that. Or in public, if you're at an event with the baby, like I went to a graduation with her and she was crying and I felt so uncomfortable feeding her in public with this huge crowd of people around me. I know there's people that are comfortable doing it in public and it's okay to do it, but personally I get kind of uncomfortable doing it and trying to get her to latch on, because sometimes she'll be super squirmy and not going on properly and I'm just all out there and exposed. Breastfeeding does come with a lot of stress sometimes. If your supply is low and the baby's freaking out and you're like, what do I do? Because there's no milk. But I'm going to be getting into breast milk supply later on in the video. Alright, so Arya's teething. So that means she'll bite me sometimes. She does not have teeth yet, but I can feel they're starting to come in. Like, they're not poking out of her gums, but her gums are starting to get harder and she is wanting to bite everything all the time. Sometimes I'll just be feeding her and she'll just start biting me as hard as she can, like clamping down, and then I don't know, it's like, oh, it hurts so bad even though it's just gums. Breastfeeding could be a huge mess sometimes. If she pulls away from me for a second, which happens a lot, the milk just starts going all over the place. Your boobs just start leaking at random times. I know there's ways to prevent an issue with that. You can put pads in your bra, but sometimes you just don't have pads in there and it just starts leaking through your shirt. So a lot of my clothes are ruined, and even if I'm breastfeeding, I just pull my shirt down, the milk just starts going everywhere and dripping down her face and onto me, and it can get really messy. I have a lot of back pain, I feel, from breastfeeding because I'm always hunched trying to feed her and like rocking her. I know this probably could also be prevented by just laying down all the time, but it's not always convenient for me to lay down, so I have to be sitting up, and yeah, it's a lot of pressure and pain on my back. Also, these days she's extremely squirmy. I don't know if this happens to your guys' baby, but my baby's just wanting to kick and squirm and pull away, and she just pulls back away from me all the time. I don't know why. This started, I think, when she was just a few months old, and then she just won't latch, she moves her head, and some people will say, oh, maybe she's just not hungry. No, this girl's hungry, and I have to stop, put her down, and then do the breast pump, and then she'll take the bottle sometimes. The first few months, she did not like the bottle. She didn't like pacifiers, binkies, whatever you want to call them, and she refused, would scream and cry, and she would only do breastfeeding, only from me. But now she will take the bottle. Sometimes she refuses the bottle, sometimes she refuses to drink from me, so I just have to figure it out. Mostly during the day, she wants to be bottle fed. Okay, so that's enough for pros and cons. Like I said, I'm sure there's a lot more, but moving on. So I'm just going to be talking about the beginning of my experience breastfeeding from right when she was born. When you first start breastfeeding, you don't just have milk, right, when you give birth. You have to have the baby nurse on you to start the milk production going, and what first comes out is something called colostrum. I'm not sure if I'm exactly saying that properly. It's this like thick yellow stuff, and you only get a little bit of it, but that part is very important for the baby and very healthy for them to have. So if you're able to do that, you should definitely make sure, even if you're not planning to breastfeed, that the baby gets that stuff in the beginning. It's very good for them. For me, it was extremely painful the first 1 to 2 weeks because she's just sucking for a long time. She would just want to be breastfeeding for hours and hours and hours. I was just in so much pain. I even started bleeding, and I thought I was just going to quit and give up right there. And I think a lot of people do quit in the first couple weeks because it is so painful. And you're like, I can't do this. Is it going to be like this forever? What do I do? And I don't think it happens for everyone, but for me, that is what happened. I did speak with a lactation consultant, had to get Arya's positioning a little bit better because she wasn't latching the best and she was just sucking too much for hours and hours and hours. So I had to cut back with that. And then I was also doing the breast pump on top of that because she was in the NICU. So I had to get her milk out to give to them for a full week. But guys, seriously, if you're going through that, I totally understand. Just don't give up. You will get over it. There's creams that will help you, and there's people out there that can help you. See a lactation consultant and you can get through it. I know it's really painful, but once you get the hang of it, it's really worth it. So stick to it. Plus, your supply might not be great in the beginning. That's what happened to me. I wasn't getting enough milk at all for a few days, but that could just be because my baby was in the NICU. I couldn't always breastfeed her when I should have. I do know positioning is very important for the baby to latch on properly and just to be comfortable and want to breastfeed. So now let's talk about milk production. For me, this is sometimes a huge struggle and it's really stressful and I just want to quit and just be like, forget it, I'm done. I do know that your body will adjust to your baby's needs. Like, you'll just have enough supply for what they need. Your body just knows, like, the schedule. So if you're feeding them like every 30 minutes, your body's just gonna make tons and tons of milk. And if you're feeding every few hours, you're probably gonna get less. I do know for me, when Aria turned about 3 months, she started sleeping through the night, like 12 hours. And I thought, oh, okay, like I guess I can't feed her during that time she's sleeping. So my milk supply went way down and almost went away, and I was freaking out. I was like, what do I do? And then I thought, oh wait, I'm not feeding her for 12 hours. That's probably why. So now what I do is I'll wake her up around 1 or 2 in the morning and feed her, and she'll just start sucking while she's still asleep. So I'll put her next to me like I showed you, and I'll just put my boob up next to her and she'll just latch on right away and start drinking, and I'll do both sides and then she'll go right back to sleep. Plus, I've been pumping a lot more often. Even if she's not hungry, I'll just start pumping. Like right now, she's asleep. I'll probably just do the breast pump like right after this video and have the milk ready for her when she wakes up. But I don't like go too long without doing something, either breastfeeding or pump. In the beginning, I had way too much milk because she was eating every 1 to 2 hours. So I had way too much and it was really painful. I was getting terrible stretch marks. So once she did start sleeping through the night, that was fixed and my body ended up adjusting to her needs. But in the beginning, I think it's a bit rough and your body's just not adjusted to the baby yet. There are some days where I have way too less and it's really stressful. There are things you can do to help increase your supply if that's not working out for you. I have tried the drops. There's little drops that you can put in water and it's supposed to help increase your supply. There's teas and there's cookies, which I have found actually work the best and they taste the best. I use the Munchkin Milk Makers Lactation Cookie Bites. So I'll have this probably like 4 times a week. Also, to make sure that I have the best and healthiest milk for Aria, I do still take my prenatal vitamins and I use the Baby in Me. I'll show you guys what it looks like right here. Because I don't feel like getting up and going to get it. But I took that my whole pregnancy and I still continue to take those. Also, I forgot to mention this video because I've mentioned it in other videos. Aria is eating solid foods now. So I think that could play a part in my supply getting lower sometimes because she's getting full of food and not me instead. So I have less milk. Here's Aria Marie, this little squirm girl. She just woke up and I was trying to feed her and she was doing exactly what I was talking about, how she like squirms a bunch and doesn't let me feed her, so I have to like make her bottle. She ate from me for probably about 2 minutes only, and then she started squirming really bad. I'll give you like a little visual of what she does. Yeah, she always wants to jump. See this? Always wants to jump. Let's say I go to feed her like this. It doesn't matter which side, she'll do this anyway. So see how she's like trying to like kick and go straight, and she pulls her head back. So like, let's say I like go to feed her, I'm holding her head, and she'll always look the opposite way and like pull away and cry. And then I'll do the other side, and she'll do the same. Oh, sneeze. Hi. Bless you. Okay, now she's looking at me, but if I went to feed her, she'd probably do the same thing. She'll keep doing it, see? Even if she can like see my nipple or anything, she will still squirm like that. So I'm gonna have to make her bottle. Hi, baby. But yeah, this is the position I'll normally do, or the laying down one like I showed you. Oh. I do know that some people can like sometimes go like this. Oh, jeez. But she won't let me. Okay. She's like, I want to stand and jump. Look how big she is. If this video helped you or you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. That'd mean a lot to me. We're getting so close to 100,000 subscribers, so please subscribe if you have not. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.